Hello and welcome back to my channel, and if you are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Now in this video I'm going to be talking about my experience with demons, but I thought they were aliens and extraterrestrials. And I think it's important for me to share my testimony. I've started my YouTube channel to explain to people what they really are, and they're demons. And especially when I have experienced it myself, when I lived it, and that I could share the truth that this is all demonic and it's a satanic agenda by nowhere else than the devil, and he's deceived the whole world of the glory of the gospel and the truth of Jesus Christ. Many people are blinded by the enemy, and this is a great deception. He's using aliens and extraterrestrials to convincing people that aliens and extraterrestrials are coming from different sides of the galaxy, in fact billions of light years away, and is observing humanity and so on. You know, it's been used greatly. It's a tool, and to be quite honest, I even believe that some governments out there want people to believe in that, because as our struggle is not against flesh and blood, against principalities, spiritual wickedness, powers of darkness in heavenly realms, Ephesians 6:12. Now, at the time I was one of those deceived people who believed in aliens and extraterrestrials. I invested a lot of my time into it. I was intrigued at the fact there was aliens out there coming from a different galaxy, observing humanity. The idea of it as well was fascinating, to be quite honest. But behind this fascination of aliens, there is a dark spiritual secret that many people who are not in the Bible or in the truths of the gospel are really deceived into. I mean, Hosea 4:6 says, "For my people perish over lack of knowledge." And if you don't have the knowledge of the word of God, then you can be deceived. You know, if you don't have the biblical concept of life, if you don't believe in that, then you believe in the evolutionary concept of life. And if you see these UFOs up in the sky, you automatically going to believe in aliens. What else are you going to believe in? You know, we know there's no planes that can move like these things can, and we know there is UFOs, but what they are and where they're coming from, this is the big debate. This is the big deception. And you know, thankfully I do know they're interdimensional beings. But I'm going to go and share my testimony now. I remember around 2007, 2008, when this really took off, I called down to a friend's house, and the friend showed me a YouTube video of, I think it was the Mexican military chasing a UFO. And when I seen that, I was convinced there was aliens. Simple as that. It was so real. It was not a plane. There was military chasing after it, very fast fighter jets, and this was not planes. This was not human. And I was very excited about it, actually. I was really excited about the existence of aliens and extraterrestrials. I wasn't so excited 5 or 6 years in, when I realised it was really dark and demonic. And the encounters I was having, I wasn't a man of prayer, I wasn't a man of Jesus Christ, I wasn't a follower of Christ, I had no defence against it, so I was in big trouble. But before that, before I was getting into that dark place and believing this negativity of demonic aliens, I should have just said aliens, it was exciting. I remember I was at a party in Tipperary. It was a rave up in the middle of the mountains. Now people are probably watching this video saying he was at a rave in the middle of the mountains. He was probably out of his mind. There was many occasions when I had these experiences. In fact, I was sober. But this particular night, I was standing outside a car with friends. We were drinking, taking drugs, you know yourself. And I remember I looked up in the sky, and you know, I wasn't hallucinating. I wasn't taking hallucinogenics anyway. But what I seen was two balls of light, and they were right beside each other, and they were going at a very slow speed. They're like they're watching us. I remember I was excited. I was telling people in the car, and nobody was taking me seriously. One guy acknowledged as well what I was seeing, and probably believed as well that it was UFO. And I was excited about that. That, you know, not only have I seen UFO on YouTube, but in fact I've seen UFOs with my own eyes. I witnessed it. I was there. That really excited me as well. But, you know, going into it, it would just get darker and darker. More, I suppose, the more you go into it, the more the devil says, right, I have this guy, you know, he's going to play tricks with you, you know, he's going to deceive you. I mean, look at 2 Thessalonians 2:10, you know, people who are believing the great lie, God will give them over to delusion. And I was given over to this delusion, you know. In fact, I believed in this delusion. I can't accuse God of give me over to delusion. In fact, I believed in this big delusion. And yeah, I remember one day I walked into the room, and I remember closed my eyes. I was tired. It was in the evening time. It was in the daytime, probably about 4 or 5 in the evening. Just take a guess. But it was bright outside. But I just went in for a snooze. And I remember as I closed my eyes, I remember it was like I got paralysed, and I remember hearing like this electromagnetic voice coming through my mind. It was like a radio channel. I was like, literally was up in the air. That's what I felt. I don't know what it was like up in the air, but I felt that. And I remember it was an evil voice. And I remember I woke up. It was like, you're trying to put it on the back of your mind that this is actually happening, but you go more into it. I was fascinated by the supernatural. As a child, I was very spiritually sensitive. I used to have terrible nightmares. I encountered ghosts and spirits, and I didn't believe in God, so I presumed then that was aliens as well. There was all the one. That's thought the source of it was. But it was the devil, it was demons. The Bible speaks about them. And they're roaming around this world today, and they're up in the skies deceiving people today. And yeah, it just, there's so many incidents that happened that was just greatly deceiving me. That was, I suppose, I felt, the meaning of life was dark, it was negative. I believed that we were probably just an alien extraterrestrial experiment at one stage of the Anunnaki. I looked into that. I watched the guys talking about the Anunnaki, that humans were to guard gold, and they mingled with their DNA with apes and humans and all this sorts of mad stuff. And it was really demonic, because you're believing a dark, demonic, high force. The devil knows that you don't have God in your life. You don't believe in Jesus Christ. So when these episodes are happening to you, you don't have a defense against that. You're walking through a nightmare, and it gets worse. It gets scarier. But looking back at it, thankfully, I came to the truth in Jesus. After that wicked experience I had. But before that, it's not the tip of the iceberg to tell you what happened to me. There's, I suppose I'm randomly saying different events, to piece it all together and go year by year. There's just so many different things that happened. I communicated, I spoke. I thought I was speaking to an alien, but I was speaking to a fallen angel. I was speaking to a demon, and you could feel these creatures were cursed. You could feel they were evil. You could feel the presence, such a demonic presence. You could feel it. You thought they were coming from different sides of the universe. You didn't know they were coming from a different dimension. You didn't know they were spiritual. And it's frightening. I mean, who are you going to tell? The psychologists, tell people about this. They're going to think you're insane. They don't understand this. But as time went on, it got worse. I remember I was walking through the estate one day. It was in Ireland. I'm living in London now, but I was back home in Ireland. I was young at the time. It was 2013. I remember the year. In fact, I remember the month. It was August 2013. Early August 2013. And I remember I was walking through an estate. I was going down home. And I remember I looked up in the sky and I seen a ball of light, and I knew well it was concentrating on me. And if I told anyone in the estate, there was people there in the estate, what I had seen, they probably wouldn't have seen. I don't think they would have seen what I seen. If I said, look, there's a UFO there, they would have thought I was mad. I believed I was the only one who could see this. I opened doors to the demonic realm. I opened doors to the spiritual realm, to the second heaven, because of my drug taking, because of my fascination with aliens, because of my, I suppose, the way I was living as well. I was inviting demonic force into my life. But I remember looking at that ball of light, and I was moving up and down the sky. I wasn't a plane, I remember seeing it, it's like just walked on, I suppose, and you don't know what really to do. I mean, it's so inhumane when this experience is happening to you. What can you do? Hopefully one day it will go away. Hopefully the nightmare will stop. The nightmare did stop when I found out that it was demons, and that Jesus Christ is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and all principalities, demonic forces. are all under him. When I found out there was a God, in fact, before I just said what I said, I want to be truthful, I want to be truthful. I'm a Christian, don't exaggerate and make a mistake, forgive me, when I realised there was a God. But anyway, I remember then I closed my eyes. It was after a long, hard weekend of partying, of sessioning, but I remember I closed my eyes anyway. And I remember again, I was expecting this alien, I thought it was at the time, to be communicating with me. Remember the noise, there was noise, it was hard to explain. I couldn't open my mouth, I was paralysed, so I was communicating, with my thoughts. Now, I don't believe demons can believe thoughts, it's not biblical, or can understand your thoughts, but I was communicating. Was it communicating in the spirit? I was communicating with it some way, it wasn't my mouth, but I was communicating with this. And I knew this alien, I thought at the time, had supernatural ability. I felt it was evil. I felt it was demonic. But I had an unhealthy obsession at the time that I won't get into in this video. But I thought that it could give me. And I made it pretty clear what I wanted. And it literally said, we can't. You don't realise the seriousness of this. That's what it spoke to me. And yeah, again, it was evil. I could feel it. But it made that pretty clear to me. And from then on I was terrified really, to go to bed by myself. And months after, I went to a room by herself, in case that happened to you again. It's terrifying to try to leave the door open so the light would come in. And more experiences happened. Even before that, I'm randomly saying it, I remember one day I went home to my mum and dad's. I was living in a town in Ireland, so I went back to my mum and dad. I lived in a village, and I came home. It was on a Saturday evening, and I remember I went into the room, and I was sober. Wasn't even, out drinking that day. I wasn't drug taking that day, and I lied in bed. And I remember it was like a gust of wind or something blew in my face, and the voice said it was going to kill me. It literally said my name, and it said it was going to kill me. For some reason, I didn't show fear to these aliens. I kind of was brave every time I encountered it. I didn't, scream and all that. I even said, do it so, and it stopped, Funny enough, the situation I was in, it was freaky, it was spooky, but I handled it well, handled it well. And I do believe at the time, even though I wasn't a Christian, I didn't know Jesus Christ, I do believe there was still, as bad as it was, there was still protection there from the demons, from the enemy. I believe there was a lot worse could have been done for me. God knew that I would find out that he was real. God knew that I would find out the truth. God knew that I would find out that Jesus was real. But a few years before that, I did realise that, unfortunately, about 2 years, in fact. But so the demonic experiences continued. I remember it was an evening. It was a Friday evening in October 2013, and I remember the evening very well. It was a football match. Ireland were playing Germany, and Germany beat Ireland 3-0. I just remember that evening because I was a gambler and I put a bet on, and I was going crazy actually watching that match. And there was another flatmate. There wasn't a flatmate, a guy I let in. He let him stay in my house. He didn't know where to stay, so I let him stay in the couch. He was sleeping on the couch for a while. But anyway, I went into the room, and I remember I felt a presence in the room, and it was freezing. The room was that evening, that night. It was freezing, and I was terrified. I felt there was something in the room with me, and I closed my eyes anyway. And I again knew that I was going to be communicating. I thought it was an alien, but it was a demon. And it had recordings of my family speaking. It revealed that to me. I vividly remember what the conversation was about, but I remember, in fact, I swore at this fallen angel. It wasn't an alien. I swore it. I was standing my ground. And I made threats. I did make threats. And again, from then on, I was terrified. Sleeping in the room, I used to leave the light on. Sometimes I'd stay at a friend's house after this was happening. And it was just getting darker and darker. And what do you do? What do you do when this is happening to you? it's terrifying. And as time went on, I mean, this is truthful. People might look at this other side of the camera and say I'm raving mad. This happened. I've no reason to come on and lie. This is truthful. God is my witness. These experiences were happening to me. And when they're happening to you, you feel like you're the only one in the world they're happening to. You feel like that there's nobody in the world that this is happening to. You feel like it's just you. But then you do your research. In fact, you're not. Many people have had demonic encounters. Many people had. And thankfully found Jesus Christ. And unfortunately, there's people who've had demonic encounters who didn't. And hopefully this video, if anyone comes past this, to realise that these aliens and extraterrestrials are nothing short of demonic. It's pure, sheer evil. And it's a powerful deception by the devil. Now, as I go on, I'm going to say how I came to the belief in God. Now, it did start to dawn on me what was happening, that there could have been a devil. I used to look on YouTube. I was looking at YouTube videos, and loved music, and I'd see artists about selling their soul to the devil. And when I was having these experiences, this felt very demonic, Now, I wasn't 100% convinced it was the devil, but there was something inside me telling me. But I ended up homeless at the time. Trying to make a long story short, I ended up homeless. I was partier. I used to have people back at the house. I'd vandalise our house. So I ended up homeless anyway. Had to leave, wouldn't pay rent. So I ended up in a homeless hostel, and there was this guy who was studying for the monastery. He was studying to be a monk, or he was going to be a monk, but he was an alcoholic. He wasn't a monk at the time, he was an alcoholic. He was in a homeless hostel with me in Ireland. The name of the homeless hostel was St. Vincent de Paul's, and I told him my experience, I told him my encounters, what was happening, and he, I told him about the devil, and he told me a story about the devil and God, about God casting Satan out of heaven, or the devil tried to, did he try to take on God and he got put back down here, Didn't say he was put back in hell, he was put back down here. So that was maybe a plant seed, or to realise that in fact this was the devil, this was spiritual. But I still wasn't convinced, but it was something maybe that God could have used this conversation to veer him through. No, hang on, this is the devil, and these aren't aliens. These are demonic forces, and the sinful lifestyle I was living in anyway opened the door to all this. But, as time is going on now, many years since this happened, I know the truth. I know that what it is. Thank God I do. I know I don't have to live in this lie. I don't have to live in this fear. I'm free in Jesus, to realise that Jesus is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and there's nothing, no force, no demon, no principality, they're all under him, and that he's the light that shines through the darkness. And this alien extraterrestrial phenomenon is a great darkness, and many people are deceived into it. And if anybody, hopefully, I pray that somebody who's into this will take interest in this, watch it, and come to the realisation of the truth that it's only demonic, and that there's a great liar out there, there's a supernatural force up in the skies and is deceiving humanity every way possible to put you off from Jesus, to put you off from God. He's deceiving. He's not in hell with a pitchfork of horns. He's in another dimension, or the second heaven. There's a spiritual realm above us, a physical realm. And yeah, God is real. God is real, and Jesus Christ is the Lord. And thankfully, I have found Christ. That even through this, I come up with a testimony of my belief in aliens, my great deception of believing this great lie, and then now I'm a born again Christian believing in Jesus Christ. So yeah, God is good. And again, coming to the end of this video, I really liked sharing this, and I just hope and pray that anybody who is in this will come to the truth, and that's Jesus. Anyway, again, till next time, thanks for tuning in. Stay blessed.